Hello, everybody, and good evening. I hope everybody enjoyed that cover of some Bad Bunny music because I know that we, the panelists, and me were jamming out just a second ago. So I hope you all at home or wherever you're tuning in thoroughly enjoyed that because I know that we did. But good evening, everyone. My name is Agassi Rodriguez. I will be your MC for tonight. I am tuning in live, not from the University of Florida. Oh, wrong direction, as you can see behind me, but I am tuning in from South Carolina, where I work as a social media data analyst for a higher ed marketing agency. I myself grew up in Miami, so shout out to the 305. I'm sure there's like 60% of you out there in the crowd. Until I said goodbye to my parents and I headed to the University of Florida in 2011, where I graduated in 2015. As a student, I was heavily involved with the Hispanic and Latinx community on campus, and I'm so excited to be welcoming you all as a Gator alum, and we're just truly excited to see our newest Gaimanes, our newest Gator families, and we want to welcome you all to the Hispanic and Latinx first year student and family welcome. Thank you all so much again for joining us. On the screen now, you will see a few housekeeping items that we ask that you keep in mind as you participate in tonight's event. We're thrilled that so many Gator families are tuning in tonight and that you have joined us for tonight's festivities. Tonight's event will be packed with a lot of great information, but we want to share that the UF Association of Hispanic Alumni and our panelists will not speak on behalf of the university and its policies related to COVID-19. On your screen in front of you, you do see a website, www.coronavirus.ufl.edu. If you do have questions pertaining to COVID-19 protocols or policies, we ask that you please refer to that link. We will not be answering any questions related to any precautions for COVID-19. All of you viewers are currently participating in listen-only mode. But if you have a question for any of our panelists, please post your question in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. We will try to answer as many questions as we can during our time together, and we will have time at the end of this program in order to answer all your wonderful questions. And we just ask that you please keep the content or the questions related to your general thoughts and also what is presented today that our panelists can speak on behalf. If there is a question similar to your own or one that you really want answered, go ahead and give it a thumbs up in the Q&A section so we know not to miss it. While the bulk of our panelists will be presenting to you all in English, we're happy to share that in our Q&A section, we'll be bilingual in English and Spanish. And for any of you who would like to rewatch our amazing panelists, we are recording this entire event and sharing this on our AHA Facebook page and website. We'd love to kick off tonight's event with a quick poll to see who is joining us today. So if you're logged in through Zoom, I invite you to participate in a quick poll. You should see at the bottom of your screen in just a second, if not just right now. For folks who might identify with multiple of these identities, select the one you identify with the most, and we will share the results in just a second. I was going to try to replicate some of that Bad Bunny cover that we just heard right now, but I realized that I don't want to hear that, and I felt like none of y'all wanted to hear that either. There's a general question about legacy. Legacy means if your family member, someone in your family attended the University of Florida before you did. All right, folks. Thank you all so much. And now in front of you, you will see the results of our poll. Wow, we have a lot of first-gen Gators, a lot of local Florida Gators. Welcome to everybody. We have 27% of our folks are family members of an incoming student. Bienvenidos a todos. I hope you all take away a lot of information from tonight's event. But lovely to see all the different kind of Gators that we have joining our event tonight. So the first thing that I would like to do is introduce you all to the panelists that we have for tonight's event. First and foremost, we have Liana Guerra, who is the president of the UF Association of Hispanic Alumni. She graduated from the University of Florida in 2015 with a degree in economics. During her time on campus, Liana served as president of the Hispanic Student Association, or HSA, a senior embajador at La Casita, and was the only student on the Council of Advisors to U.S. Bob Graham Center for Public Service. Additionally, Liana co-founded the Gators for Tuition Equity, which successfully lobbied to make Florida the 21st state to allow undocumented students to pay in-state tuition rates. She currently works in Congress as a Chief of Staff to U.S. Representative Darren Soto. Next up, we have Elle Chumlongluk, who currently serves as the Chief of Staff for the Hispanic Student Association. She's a senior pursuing a degree in public health and political science with a minor in health disparities in society. Next up, we have Viri Lopez Lugo, who is the secretary of the Hispanic Student Association. She is a rising third year pursuing a dual degree in family, youth, and community sciences and education sciences. Then we also have Bianca Quiñones, who currently serves as the program director of the Hispanic-Latinx Affairs at the University of Florida. Bianca has dedicated her career to supporting historically excluded students. Within her role, she works to expand the boundaries of Latinidad and showcase the similarities in cultures across the diaspora. We want to thank all of our wonderful speakers in advance for joining us for tonight's evening to provide all this wonderful information and choosing to share their experiences with our friends and family who've logged in today. And with that, I am pleased to welcome our first speaker, Liana Guerra, the UFAHA president, who will kick us off tonight with some opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Agassi, and welcome to everybody. I'm so happy to see you all here. So as Agassi mentioned, my name is Liana Guerra. I am the incoming president for the UF Association of Hispanic Alumni, otherwise known as the UFAHA. So we were founded in the 1990s, and our mission is to promote the University of Florida and its Hispanic Latino heritage, and to provide support for our current UF students in their development as future Gator alumni. We can put the next slide. We host fun and professional events that keep the 30,000 Hispanic Latino alumni across the US and abroad continuously engaged to the Gator Nation and each other. We also provide scholarships and mentorship opportunities for our students so that Hispanic Latinx students are supported while they pursue what they want to fulfill with their educational and professional goals. We put on this event specifically to welcome all of you, our first year Caimanes and their families. We know all of you have so many different questions, whether about college, especially like we saw a lot of you are first generation college students. Congratulations. We know this is a huge feat for you and your family members. We want you to know that we've been in your shoes before and we're here to support you. So this event is to warmly welcome you to our familia, to the Gator Familia, and to the UF campus. We hope that you'll be able to walk away with the information that'll help you better understand what UF is all about, what it's like to live on campus, and what it's like to get involved with the familia. So tonight, we have some of our friends with us that are going to be able to share their insight and experiences to better prepare us for the road ahead. But actually, before I get to that, you can go ahead to the next slide. So this, you can see the Gator Nation is everywhere. Although we've been around, like I mentioned, since the 90s, we were always very predominantly in South Florida and across Florida. But the UFAHA has been growing as the Gator Nation, like we like to say, it is everywhere. And now we have members present in DC, in New York, LA, and we've actually added this year some board members in the Seattle and Chicago areas. So we're super excited about our expansion, and that just shows how big of a network our Hispanic and Latinx and UF community are across the nation. So anyways, like I was mentioning, you can move on to the next slide. We have some amazing panelists and our friends here with us today that I'll talk a little bit about and let them share some of their insight into UF with you. So first we have Elle Chumlongluk and Viri Lopez Lugo. They're both from the Hispanic Student Association, which is really exciting for me as a former president of this student organization. They're going to talk to you about how to get involved at UF with HSA or with other student organizations. And as former students who live on campus, one of them who was a preview staffer, so you may know what that is from your preview experience, they're going to talk about what living on campus looks like, what are some resources on campus that your RA, resident assistant, can help connect you with. We also have the amazing Bianca Quiñones. She is the director of Hispanic-Latinx Affairs on campus. Like Agassi mentioned, I was a former ambassador for this organization, and it was a really meaningful part of my undergraduate experience. She's going to share some of the resources that HLA can provide to students, specifically Hispanic-Latinx students on campus. Then I will conclude the panelist section and talk a little bit more, again, about what UFAHA supports or is able to do to support students. We have scholarships that we offer. We've hosted professional development events. And one of my favorites, our mentorship program. After this panelist section, we're going to begin our Q&A portion. This is a really important part because you'll be able to get to ask any questions that you have. We'll also, like they mentioned, we'll have it in, we'll respond in English. And we also have my colleague, Jose Miranda. He is the UFAHA president-elect, and he'll be serving as our translator tonight for anyone who is more comfortable with speaking Spanish in the audience. So please stay on until the Q&A. That's going to be a really integral part of this presentation. And we'll share some words of advice for those on their UF journey. So welcome.
All righty. Thank you so much, Liana, for sharing all that wonderful information and getting us started for tonight's festivities. So first up, we will have Vidi Lopez-Lugo and El Chunlongluk from HSA, who will talk to you a little bit about getting involved in student organizations on campus.
Thank you so much for introducing us. So before we get started, I believe we're doing a poll. So whenever that pops up on your screen, there it goes. So the poll is about what you are most excited about this upcoming year. So put in your results and we'll get that going and we'll show you the ending results at the end. It's a lot of good choices on here. Free Gatorade. Do you really get free Gatorade? So in the Student Healthcare Center on campus, they have a little dispenser there where you can get free Gatorade in there. It doesn't have all the different flavors, but I know it has the yellow flavor in there. So it's kind of nice to stop by the Student Healthcare Center in between classes and get some free Gatorade to excite your day. Alrighty. Okay, so it looks like what people are most excited about is exploring their major and getting involved on campus. So that's awesome. And we'll talk a little bit about getting involved on campus now going forward in this next slide. So I'm glad to see that everyone wants to get involved on campus. Alrighty, so today we're going to talk a little bit about, like I said, getting involved at UF and finding your community. We're specifically going to be talking about the Hispanic Student Association and how you're going to make your mark on campus. So to get involved on campus can be a very difficult process, coming from somewhere where you're very comfortable to going independent in a new school where everything's new and everything's different. So when you first get started, it might be hard to find your place, but we do recommend finding your place, finding your people, finding those who will make you feel the most comforted, whether that's on campus with student involvement or off campus through volunteering and helping Gainesville or the Gator Nation. We do recommend getting involved in things that are related to your profession and related to your major. If you want to, like you said, you want to discover lots of things about your major, we do recommend getting involved. We have many pre-professional organizations, whether that's law or medical or engineering, anything like that. There's multiple different types of organizations for professional development that could help you learn those marketable skills to create connections within people that are in your same profession. There's a word that we love to use at UF, which is networking. And networking is a big deal, whether that's in your major, whether that's in your profession, or whether that's in your own identity and things like that. So definitely working on creating connections and meeting new people is an amazing way to get involved on campus. Also, establishing your impact and creating your own path. Those are all things that we totally recommend getting involved with, and doing UF involvement, joining organizations that can really make an impact on campus is something that we totally recommend doing. And make sure to set goals for yourself when trying to create your own path. Do something new, do something exciting. Now's the time. Lots of things are free at UF that you can do. You can go kayaking on Lake Wahlberg. You can go join gym classes and do hip hop fitness. A lot of opportunities are given at this time, and I do recommend going and creating your own path.
Awesome, thank you, Elle. Now we're gonna switch over to how these are some resources you can use on getting involved. So first, go and visit the involvement team located on the second floor inside the Student Activities and Involvement Center. The involvement team will tailor your interests, passions, and goals when creating your personalized involvement list. Secondly, attending student organization fairs is another great way to get involved. These fairs occur every semester and where numerous of orgs on campus come together, usually on the North Lawn in front of the Rights Union. So now let's talk about HSA. HSA was founded in 1985 and is one of the big 10 orgs on campus. We strive to create a community where we empower and educate others on the Hispanic-Latinx heritage. We are an all-inclusive org, so you do not need to be Hispanic to join.
So we have some major programming events that occur throughout the year. First is our new Latin American Summit that occurs more in the springtime, and it's an open space for Latinx minds to really have difficult conversations that need to be happen. We also have the Hispanic-Latinx Heritage Month, which is one of the biggest Hispanic-Latinx Heritage Month celebrations within the nation. And it's a whole month-long celebration. It's really fun, and there's tons of events that happen. We also have the Member Leadership Program, which I really want to stress. And it's a great way if you're a new incoming student to get involved within the Hispanic Student Association. And it's a cohort of 50 people, all about professional development. And you get to meet your best friends through that. Honestly, this is how I started my freshman year, and it was truly an amazing experience. And I really, really do recommend joining MLP. We also have our HSA cabinet, which is a cabinet that is responsible for bringing all the functions of HSA alive. So you can definitely join that later on in the year as well. In addition, we also have the Hispanic-Latinx Student Assembly, which is something that occurs every year at the beginning of the year. This year will be on September 3rd, and it is celebrating the past, present, and future of Latinx skaters. It's an amazing time, and we have a major speaker that comes every year. Stay tuned for that to be released. And we talk about, and we have all the opportunities that our 20 affiliate organizations, HSA, we have tons of opportunities for you to get involved with the Hispanic community there as well.
Awesome. So here are a few options to connect with HSA today. I would highly recommend looking at our website, which is also going through some updates, our Instagram, so please follow us on Instagram or even our Facebook. And subscribe to our newsletter. That's where we're going to have a lot of involvement opportunities, and we're going to have a lot of information about what's going on in HSA. I would always encourage you to download GroupMe, which is an app that a lot of students use on campus and a lot of student organizations use as well. And once you download GroupMe, I would scan the QR code or come back to this later on in another day and try to join our GroupMe. Please look at our blog and maybe submit your own blog post. And we're going to be talking a lot more about the affiliated organizations. So stay tuned.
All right, so now we're going to transition to on-campus housing. So for on-campus housing, there is someone called a resident assistant, and they're basically students that live in the dorm that your child is living in, and they are trained to serve as on-site resources for your student. So RAs ensure the safety for everybody who is living within the dorm. They're always there at your need, and they're always there to support you in every type of way. They organize events for the area as well. So depending on which area that you're living in, they're there to help organize events in order for people to come together, and you really get to have that community of freshmen or sophomores or those who are residing within the dorms. They also, like I said, create lots of opportunities for social interaction and really try to have like a really close home type feel and get you to develop a sense of the community at UF. And it's a great way to attend these events, is a great way to get to know people within your area and start making friends. They also connect students to resources and are there to support you through any academic adjustments, social and personal adjustments. So they're there for all of your needs. They're really supporting and they're amazing people. And I lived in a dorm for 2 years and I really loved my RA. They were always there for me and I really appreciate everything that they did.
So living on campus, I also did live in a residence hall. I lived in 3 different ones, Thomas, Tressler, and recently I was living in, I forgot the name. I totally forgot. My bad. But basically the dorm experience. So you interact with other residents. It's also really exciting because, you know, your roommate can become like your best friend, just like me. I never knew who my roommate was until I got there. And now we're like best friends and we have not stopped being roommates since then. You have close to dining options. So Broward Dining, Gator Dining, and they're also building a new dining hall. So there's a bunch of restaurants on campus as well that you can also go to. So you're never gonna go hungry. Some services, there's the keys for packages if you have anything delivered. Laundry, please be sure to like bring some coins or like make sure that your credit card works because sometimes it may not work. TV rooms, there's lounges, a piano. I always loved playing the piano in the lounge. There's pool tables, and there's just a whole lot of things that you can do to interact with people you are living with. So here's a map of all of the halls. You know, you can see they're very scattered around, and it's just a great way to like have this map, maybe take a picture if you want, or when you have these PowerPoint slides, just to look over and see where all the residence halls are located. So now we're going to move and transition to the RA events, IRA events, and university events. So first off, the RA events. They're on campus, mostly done with residential halls. These are like movie nights, ping pong tournaments, board games, super fun. You should definitely go. I knew I went my first year and I definitely made a lot of friends and I didn't feel lonely. Secondly, the IRA events. They're campus-wide events for all students. So like freshman welcome week, Gator nights, sleep week. You know, Battle of the Halls was so fun. My hall won. So that was a great time. And thirdly, university events. So these can include like the football games. I definitely recommend you go to football games at least once while you're here. The club sports, even like basketball or volleyball or even gymnastics. Like I never knew how much I loved it until I went my first time. There's influential speakers. I know Brockhampton is coming. They're not influential. They're just like a really cool music band. If you know them, they're coming to UF. So I would stay tuned. But yeah, these are all really cool events.
Yes, and just to clarify, RA does mean resident assistant, and IRHA means internal resident housing association, something like that. And they're more of an association that will help students and have more broad general events, while RAs have more designated events within the resident hall areas. So IRHA will have more general events for all those who are living in dorms to participate in. So RAs serve as a bridge to connect students to multiple types of resources, and we have a lot of resources on campus to facilitate those connections. So we have You Matter, We Care, which is an organization that helps with mental health services and testing accommodations, and they're really there to really help if a student is going through a difficult time. There's also advising, so RAs are familiar with all the different types of advising that are on campus. So if you are struggling on trying to find which advisor to go to, they will be there to help facilitate that. There also is tutoring all around campus, which your RA can direct you to. There's the Broward Tutoring Center and the Writing Center on Turlington Hall. So you can also talk to your RA about those tutoring locations. There also is, they'll also give you recommendations on where to eat, how Gainesville is laid out, and libraries and things like that, where to go study, where's the best places to go. They're there for that as well and can help with all that information. They also have probably been here for a little while, so they can also help with involvement opportunities too. And they are familiar with a lot of different clubs that are on campus and other opportunities like jobs, volunteer work, and how to get involved on and off campus. But yeah, that's all that we have. Thank you so much. And hope you have a great rest of your presentation.
Thank you all so much for imparting such wisdom on how to get involved and how to get active. Please take note, folks. You're hearing it straight from the students themselves. Involvement is an important part of your Gator experience, so please consider it and make sure you connect with other folks whenever you can. Next up, I am happy to introduce our next speaker, Bianca Quiñones.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gator Nation. I'm so excited to get to welcome you to the University of Florida, whether right now that's virtually or in person in a couple of days. And I'm sure that you're on the right track because you are here at this presentation getting all of the secret codes on how to be successful. My name is Bianca Quiñones. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I am the program director of Hispanic-Latinx Affairs, which in short, I will call HLA because Hispanic-Latinx Affairs is a mouthful. But I get to serve students who identify or support the Hispanic-Latinx population here at University of Florida, which is super rewarding, super amazing. And I know that when I was an undergraduate student, it was something that I definitely needed and used to be able to thrive on campus. I get to serve you all along with my colleague, Noe Sanchez, who is a graduate assistant within the office. He will be my right-hand person, and you will probably get to know both of us very well as we go in and out of the space all of the time. The purpose of Hispanic-Latinx Affairs is to support, empower, and advance the Hispanic-Latinx community at the University of Florida. Currently at University of Florida, we are about 20% of the population, which is a huge amount. And so essentially what I try to do is to make sure that students with these identities are feeling supported, are feeling welcomed, are coming here and able to be successful, because at the end of the day, your goal is to come and graduate. And then after you graduate, to be able to get a job, your dream job, right? And so how can we help you within our office be able to reach those goals so that later you can come back as an alumni and really support and remember the good times that you had within our spaces. So talking about our spaces, I know that Leanna mentioned that the Association of Hispanic Alumni was created in the early 90s. And actually in the early 90s as well, La Casita, so the Institute of Hispanic Latino Cultures, became a preeminent part of the University of Florida. It used to be a very old rickety house. I heard that it was haunted, but apparently she wasn't a scary ghost, but she was a nice ghost. And it was just very homey. However, in 2016, I believe, they tore La Casita down and they actually rebuilt a new one, which opened the fall of 2019. So you will probably be one of the first classes that gets to experience La Casita in its fullest capacity, because we have been shut down since March of 2020 or operating at a very limited capacity. So I welcome you. We are located at 1504 West University Avenue, right next to Chipotle. So if you put Chipotle on your GPS, on your maps, you will find us right here next to it, waiting to welcome you. And this is definitely a space for you to come and socialize. We have a huge TV, so if you want to watch the latest novela, I'm personally waiting for the World Cup so that we can all watch it here together in community. Or you can use it as a study space, as a meeting space. I know that some students come here and they have class here, or they simply come and take a nap. We tend to have coffee in the front, free coffee. And then we also have some printing spaces where you get to print for free, which are always amazing for students, especially if they're going from one class to another. But definitely it's a space where we want you to come and like feel safe, feel empowered, feel in community, but also be a space where you can get your study on, do so in a way where if you're speaking Spanish, if you're speaking English, if you're speaking Portuguese, like it's all fine and nobody's gonna look at you differently. As well as a space where you're able to connect and build community within generations of Gators in the future and also from the past. Additionally, we have another space dedicated to our students, which is the Hispanic-Latino Engagement Center in the Union on the second floor. And actually, University of Florida is one of the only, if not the only university in the country to host 2 physical spaces for our Hispanic-Latinx students. So this is actually really great, and I think shows a commitment to the excellence and success of Hispanic-Latino students on campus. Additionally, there, you will always be able to find a free cup of coffee, as well as a place to study, a place that you can listen to some Bad Bunny or Ricky Martin. It just depends on your mood and kind of like what our ambassadors have. But always feel free to come through. As you can see our hours on the top right. Both spaces will open at 10. La Casita actually closes at 10 p.m. And La Salita closes at 7, Monday through Thursday, and both spaces will close at 5 on Fridays. Next, we have Adelante, which is one of our pre-arrival programs. And this is one of our biggest initiatives that we currently have. I'm sure that if you all have been checking your emails, you have probably seen various emails about Adelante. Adelante really focuses on connecting our students early on. We put you all in pueblos, which is pretty much like your group or your cohort that is led by peer leaders who are sophomores, juniors, and seniors who have been successful here at UF. And essentially we talk about different resources. We talk about different student organizations. We connect you with different faculty and staff who identify as Hispanic Latinx. And we have just some conversations around things that impact our community, such as mental health, and connect you with the CWC, the Counseling and Wellness Center, as well as just like financial aid. Who do you contact at financial aid when you need help? Or what does FWS mean on your financial aid package? Different questions that you may have through a Latinx lens. I've heard some students kind of compare it to Preview and say that it's like a Latinx preview. But word on the street also is that students are a lot more real and give you just like real information during Adelante, which is really great. This year, it's actually going to be happening next week. It's going to be starting next Thursday through Saturday. If you have any questions, please go ahead and reach out to me, as the registration deadline has already closed. But depending on your situation, we might be able to make something work. And then next, this is another initiative that we have for first-year students. It's called Podemos. And what Podemos is that it is a cohort of students, first-year and transfer students, who come together, and during the first semester, they meet bi-weekly and they really focus on their scholar identity. So such as, how do you use the library? My professors are asking me to get peer-reviewed journals, and I don't know how to do that. What does that even mean? I want to study abroad. I saw that somebody talked about wanting to study abroad, getting you connected with those people and those resources. And also maybe like, I didn't get the best grade that I wanted on my first exam. How do I make sure that I manage my time well or study differently now that I'm in college than I did in high school? So being able to gain those really good resources and knowledge around being a scholar. And then your second semester, you really focus on your professional identity. So I know that Elle really mentioned networking. What does that even mean? How do I network? Who do I network with? A resume. So your high school resume is going to look very different than a professional resume that you'll be using moving forward in order to be able to get internships, scholarships, these different kind of extracurricular activities, how to have an informational interview, all of these kind of different questions. And we actually try to prep you to be able to apply to internships so that you can have an internship during your first summer. And we've actually had some really successful students who have had an internship with NSF, the National Science Foundation, within their first summer of college. So if you are interested in that, please go ahead and follow us at UF Podemos on Facebook or Podemos by UFHLA on Instagram. I know that they are currently looking for students to participate. And last but not least, stay connected with us. So follow us on social media. To be honest, we're more active on Instagram because we find that y'all are more active on Instagram. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to email us. Our email is pretty long. So I would say like take a picture because even when I type it in, like it's definitely a lot. I can put my email in the chat as well for anybody that's interested. But following us on Instagram will probably be the best bet and where you will find the most information on how to stay connected with us. If anything, we'll post when we're having free food, which as you will come to find out is one of the best perks of coming to college, all the free food. Thanks, y'all.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's me, Liana Guerra, again, here to talk about more about UF Association of Hispanic Alumni. All right. So first, there are multiple ways that you can, as a student, although we're Alumni Association, we have different ways that we support our students. And there's 3 opportunities that I'd like to talk about. So first, we support our students in their educational and professional goals. This is that program I mentioned earlier that is one of my favorites. It's called Conexiones. It's a mentorship program that we've worked with in collaboration with the Hispanic Student Association in order to pair students, current students at UF with alumni. The purpose is to, number 1, build positive relationships between the students and alumni. And then also it provides students, we keep saying this word, but with an opportunity to network and develop professionally with alumni. So really exciting. The mentee applications are going to open up really soon. So take out your notebook and write that the applications will open on August 30th. And you can follow the Hispanic Student Association or us, the UF Association of Hispanic Alumni, on our social media pages, and we'll be talking more about when the application releases. The program itself will run from October 2021, so a little bit into the fall semester, until March of 2022. And it's, again, a really awesome opportunity where if you're accepted, you as a student will receive a one-on-one alumni mentor who will help you, navigate UF and all your questions. You'll be able to meet at least on a monthly basis with them, and we'll facilitate different types of ways for you to engage with your mentor. Again, really exciting program. Applications open up August 30th. So another opportunity for us to engage with you all is through multiple events that we host. We have a really exciting one coming up, and it's our annual Hispanic Alumni Weekend. So this is a time where we're here because we loved our time at UF, and we reminisce about it all the time. And so we come to campus once a year to reminisce, to go to a football game, to see you all and connect with you students as well. So this year it's during the Alabama game, and it's September 17th through the 19th. So it's right at the top of Hispanic Heritage Month, which is super exciting. We're really looking forward to coming back to campus. Last year, we hosted our first virtual Hispanic Alumni Weekend due to COVID. We were able to adjust and do some really fun virtual events, like a cooking class and a Zumba virtual class. But this year we'll be in person. So soon we'll have the registration link for students to sign up. And we'll have a professional development event on Friday that we're partnering with HSA to teach you how to network and do different things that'll be important as you progress in your UF career. We'll also have a reception at the president of UF's house, which is really fun and always a great time to engage. We're partnering with the Center for Latin American Studies, and we'll dance and we'll eat and we'll have a good time. And then on Saturday, of course, we have our tailgate, which will be at La Casita, like Bianca mentioned earlier. And we're super excited. Like she mentioned, it's been underutilized during COVID, and we're so excited to bring some life back to La Casita at Hispanic Alumni Weekend. So we hope to see you there. And again, follow us on social media and you'll be able to see when our registration link is out there, and you'll be able to buy tickets for the weekend. It'll definitely be worth it. Oh, and bring your families. I am bringing my mom from Miami is coming up. I live in the Washington, D.C. area. My little cousin is actually a incoming Gator like you all. So we're gonna have a family reunion at Hispanic Alumni Weekend, and I encourage you guys to do that too. Another event that, or several events, oh, you can go back to the same slide, sorry, is number 2 is Prepárate Caimán. So this is a really, really neat professional development series that we developed in the past over a year now. It's in the past, they've been online workshops, and it's a series that we're going to host 4 sessions throughout the upcoming year. In the past, we've done sessions with alumni who are actual professionals in specific fields or topics and experts in that. We've talked about career planning. We've talked about effective leadership. We've talked about knowing your worth and communicating that to your future employers. So we give some really, really great tips that we've learned along the way, and we want to provide that information to you all. So take a look, keep a lookout for our Prepárate Caimán series, and we're really excited about that. All right, next slide. All right, lastly, the third opportunity I want to talk about is something that you all, I'm sure, care about, is money, money, money. One of our main priorities as the UF Association of Hispanic Alumni is that we want to not only support our students professionally, and engage with them, but we want to be able to help lessen the burden for you. So we actually have multiple scholarships that you'll be able to apply to during your time at UF. We've actually even increased the amount of awards we've offered. In the past, we've typically offered 4 scholarships for students, and this last year we're really proud to say that we offered 10 different scholarships for students. So please keep a lookout again. The scholarships right now are closed, but we will have more information in the future about when scholarships will reopen. As you can see, our awards, they range from a $500 scholarship to $2,500, and every little bit makes a difference, and we recognize that, and we really want to be able to lessen your burden, open doors for you, and support you every step of the way, even financially. So I mentioned multiple times, follow us. That's how you're going to learn more information from us. We're on Instagram too. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. I know maybe some of you don't use Facebook anymore, but a lot of our alumni are still on there. If you have any questions, you can also email us and follow or check out our website. And we're just really excited to engage with you all. And we're super proud, again, to welcome you to this Gator Familia, and we're excited to just lend our support for you all. So congratulations on being here and becoming Gators. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Liana, and thank you to all of our outstanding panelists. I know everyone at home is giving them a round of applause, so I'll just join in the round of applause that you all are giving them wherever you're tuning in tonight. But we're just so appreciative of them giving their time to be able to talk on some of these topics. And if you weren't ready to come to UF before this, I sure hope some of this information has gotten you excited about all the wonderful things you can experience at UF and all the wonderful ways that you can be supported as a student and how your families can still connect to you all and support you as well. So I'm sure by now that you all are burning with questions. We've already had a couple of questions come through our question and answer section. So thank you to those folks who've already reached out with questions. So we're going to take some time now to answer some additional questions through the Q&A feature. We ask that you please only ask questions related to the content presented in the earlier portion of the event, but also if you have other questions, feel free to throw them in there too. We will do our best to answer them and provide links and information for you all to follow up on. As always, some of it may be that you will be reaching out to folks and, students start logging on to those emails because you're going to be using those emails all the time. So just get it into regular practice. So if you have any new questions, please feel free to write the name of the panelist to whom you are directing your question to. That way I know who to direct and verbalize your question to. If there are multiple similar questions, we are going to go ahead and combine some of those just in the interest of time to try to answer as many questions as possible. As a reminder, this section is bilingual. So Jose Miranda, the AHA's president-elect, will serve as our translator. We ask that you please keep in mind that he is not a professional translator, but will do his very best, as he has promised us, in order to translate every question and every response. So if you have a question in Spanish, please feel free to ask it in Spanish and he will translate to everyone in English and vice versa. So Jose, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves to the fine folks at home.
Sure, thank you, Agassi. Hola, Caimanes, mi nombre es José Miranda, soy parte de la Asociación de Graduados Hispanos de la Universidad de la Florida. Muchísimas gracias por estar sintonizados con nosotros esta noche. Cualquier pregunta que tengan en inglés o en español es bienvenida y trataremos de responderlas de la mejor manera que podamos. Hi everyone, my name is Jose Miranda. I'm part of the UFAHA. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and we welcome any questions you all have in English or Spanish. We'll do our best to answer them.
All righty, so we have one question from Janet, which asks, do we have resources that help with transportation to and from the international airports in the area? Now, I do know that there was a similar question that was answered in the chat feature a second ago from Bianca, who has previously used Red Coach. As a response, Bianca, I don't know if you have additional information you want to contribute to that answer specifically, or if any of the students having information about the international airports in the area. You will need to travel a little bit outside of the Gainesville area into a more major area such as Orlando, Tampa. But if other folks have information to contribute, please go ahead and do so.
Yeah, definitely. So I've used Red Coach to go all the way down to Miami. It does pick you up on time, I have found, and it picks you up like right outside of the Union. So that's pretty convenient, and it'll drop you off there as well. They told me that they had Wi-Fi, but they didn't. So don't count on that. Just go ahead and take a nap on your way to wherever you're going. And I think they go to all of the major airports, but I submitted the link and there's more information there if needed.
La pregunta que hicieron era que si hay modo de transporte de los aeropuertos internacionales a la Universidad de la Florida. Bianca compartió con nosotros una compañía de buses que viaja desde Gainesville hasta Miami y también para por varios de los aeropuertos. Los aeropuertos más cercanos internacionales a Gainesville son en Tampa, en Orlando y en Jacksonville. Y Red Coach pasa por todas esas tres ciudades y va hasta Miami. Y de mi parte personal, puedo decir que también hay otras compañías de buses que hacen lo mismo. Unas pueden ser más económicas, otras más caras. Una nota que Bianca dijo es que en Red Coach dicen que hay Wi-Fi, pero eso no es siempre correcto. Así que planeen no tener Wi-Fi durante el viaje.
You heard it here, folks. You might not have Wi-Fi on the bus, so just read a book, bring a textbook, just do some homework because you might not have Wi-Fi on that bus. But thank you all so much for that question. We did have a question, and I think maybe it just got answered about ¿Dónde mi hija puede comer comida latina en UF? So where can my daughter eat Latin food at the University of Florida? I'm so sorry, Jose. I totally took your job. I apologize. You were doing fantastic. Thank you so much. But the L did respond. Do folks want to share out loud any good tips for food in the area?
Yeah, so this was actually a question that was asked last year, and we did make an HSA blog post about it. Some recommendations that probably the most popular within Gainesville, I know, is La Tienda or La Cocina de Abuela, which is on the list here. So definitely check those out as they are very popular restaurants within Gainesville.
Can I also add, Jose, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me translate this first real quick. Bueno, no voy a traducir la pregunta porque ya Agassi lo hizo. Muchísimas gracias, Agassi. Pero una de las opciones que dio él es que esta pregunta también la hicieron el año pasado. Ya veo cuáles son las prioridades de las personas. Sería la misma la mía también. Y HSA creó un blog con muchas recomendaciones el año pasado. Una de las recomendaciones más altas que encontraron fueron La Tienda, que yo puedo decirles personalmente era mi restaurante favorito cuando fui un estudiante. También La Cocina de Abuela, que también es buenísima. Yo fui la última vez que visité en Gainesville. Y creo que Liana también iba a proveer algunas opciones.
Yeah, I was going to add, which Emily Rosendo in the audience also mentioned Mi Apa. It has a drive-through, which has always come clutch for me when I didn't want to, I was in my PJs from a long night of studying and I wanted my cafecito and I just wanted to get in the drive-through. That's always been great. Even for road trips, that's always been a nice option. And we are catering from Mi Apa for our Hispanic Alumni Weekend tailgate. So that's a good one. Oh, and they added, I think, at the Rights Union, which I'm very jealous about. I wish I had that on campus. And for those who are in Florida, you wouldn't think that this is a good option, but now that I've lived in DC for 6 years, I'll add Pollo Tropical. I know it's not like necessarily the best Latin food, but now that I have very limited Latin food, I miss some good Pollo Tropical.
Bueno, algunas recomendaciones adicionales son Mi Apa. Mi Apa es un restaurante cubano. Es delicioso, también comí ahí, así que le doy la segunda. El desayuno en Mi Apa es increíble. Tienen también una opción de drive-thru, por solo para los que tengan carro, pueden ir temprano, pueden ahí recoger su cafecito. Si son de Miami, va a ser el mejor lugar donde lo pueden encontrar. Y algo nuevo que está sucediendo que nosotros no teníamos cuando estuvimos ahí, pero que ustedes van a tener, es que van a traer Mi Apa al Rights Union. Así que aunque no tengan carro o no quieren ir en el bus, pueden caminar al Rights Union y comer esa comida deliciosa ahí mismo. Y otra opción también que puede que no aparezca, aparentemente sea una gran opción, pero cuando uno se muda fuera de la Florida, y yo también vivo fuera de la Florida, vivo en Washington, D.C., lo extraña es Pollo Tropical, porque cuando tienes opciones limitadas de comida latina buena, es algo que vas a extrañar, así que disfrútenlo mientras están ahí.
Thank you so much for your question and for those responses. Again, from some folks from Miami, you might get to the food at the University of Florida, you might be like, oh, they have it better in Miami. Give it a couple of months and you're going to see how good it tastes. Just give it a little while. All right, folks, we have a couple of questions coming through the chat now. Vidi, it looks like you have opted to answer some of these questions live. So if you want to go ahead and chime in.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, one of the questions was, ¿cuáles seguranzas tienes para que mi estudiante se mantenga seguro en UF? So what are some insurance plans that my student can use to be safe here at UF? So I personally, I had Medicaid and it worked perfectly here. I actually used a waiver. So I'm gonna send that through the chat. And these waivers, basically, if you have Medicaid or anything similar to that, you can opt in, so then you don't have to pay like $900 for insurance. But if you don't have your own insurance, I would recommend like opting in into the university's insurance or finding your own. University insurance in the fall is like around $900. If you're an MFOS scholar, a Matching Florida Opportunity Scholar, which I also am, this will already be covered. But if you are not, you know, you have other scholarships. Bright Futures does not cover this, but other scholarships that you may have or grants will be able to cover this if you need it.
I will attempt to translate that, although I may also translate the question because I think there's another point that they may have reached. Vidi, if you want to tackle that part too. Pero bueno, en parte de la pregunta acerca de aseguranzas, Vidi dice que hay varias opciones. Uno puede aplicar a través de ayuda financiera para Medicaid. Hay muchas seguro, también existe el seguro de la universidad, que si ustedes reciben ayuda financiera, sea MFOS o sea cualquier otro tipo de ayuda federal o estatal como Pell Grants, también puede ayudar a cubrir esos gastos también. La pregunta era, ¿cuáles sugerencias? Oh, it's gone. ¿Cuáles sugerencias tenemos para asegurarse que los estudiantes estén seguros en la universidad? So, to me, I also read it as, what tips do you have to ensure that our students are safe on campus? So, I don't know if you all want to tackle that answer, and I'll translate your answers as well.
For those that live on campus, isn't there like an app or like those buttons that you can talk about?
Yes, I can talk a little bit about that. So there is for safety on campus, there is the blue light button. So there's an app that you can download. It's called Gator Safe. And you can have like a portal, like a manual mobile blue light button in case of emergency. It also has 911 and the UFPD phone number. So you can use that on the on the Gator Safe app. There also is blue lights stationed all around UF campus. So you can utilize those lights in order to, if you are in an emergency, desperate situation, you can use those lights in order to get people out there alerted and out there immediately. There also is, as someone also mentioned in the chat, the SNAP. It is the student, what's the abbreviation? It's the student nightlife transportation, something like that. And it's a mobile a transportation system, which will pick you up anywhere on campus and take you back to your apartment or take it back to your dorm. That is also on campus. It's only on campus facilitation, but it can pick you up anytime until 3 a.m. in the morning. And there also is the Later Gator buses for off-campus facilitation. So the Later Gator buses will run at night till I think around 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning as well. And they will be able to transportation to your home if you are living off campus from off-campus areas.
Ok, bueno, entonces el tema es qué sugerencias tenemos para asegurarse que los estudiantes están a salvo. En la universidad hay unos postes con luces azules, esa night lamp, que son luces de emergencia. O sea, si un estudiante tiene algún problema, pueden presionar ese botón automáticamente llama a la policía, identifican en qué lugar están para que la asistencia llegue ahí. Pero además de esos postes físicos, hay una aplicación en el teléfono que se llama Gator Safe, que funciona prácticamente como uno de esos postes de luces azules móvil, donde el estudiante puede presionarlo y automáticamente manda un mensaje de emergencia. También tiene contacto al 911 para asegurarse de que los estudiantes puedan recibir ayuda si necesitan ayuda. Además de eso, durante la noche, la universidad tiene un programa que se llama SNAP. En inglés significa Student Nighttime Auxiliary Patrol, que eso en español significa Patrulla Nocturna Estudiantil Auxiliaria. Lo que esto hace es que provee un modo de transporte a salvo durante la noche para estudiantes dentro de la universidad hasta las 3 de la mañana. Uno lo puede pedir desde su teléfono, busca en qué lugar lo pueden recoger y después hay diferentes puntos específicos donde lo puede dejar, pero te deja en todos los puntos principales que son tus residencias y otros puntos principales de la universidad. Y para aquellos que viven fuera de la universidad, la ciudad de Gainesville tiene algo que se llama un later gator, que son buses que operan hasta una hora muy tarde en la noche, que uno puede tomarlos. Y para saber dónde se encuentran esos buses, uno puede bajar la aplicación Translock, que le avisa, le tiene a través del GPS, le avisa dónde está el bus y a qué hora va a llegar.
Thank you for your question. So it seems we have a couple of other questions specifically that some of our folks have opted. We have, is Red Coach safe and reliable from getting to and from Gainesville to Miami?
Yeah, so I can answer that. I've used Red Coach a lot this past year, especially because a lot of the other bus companies are down at the moment. Like I did see in the chat, GMG was mentioned a couple times. They are down at the moment, but I believe they're back into running in August. However, Red Coach, I believe, is very safe. For the most part, I've used it for a lot of my college years. It's very safe and reliable. It'll be able to take you directly to Miami from Gainesville, and I do recommend it.
La pregunta es, para aquellos que necesitan transportarse de Miami a Gainesville o cualquier otra ciudad, que si la compañía de autobuses Red Coach es segura y de confianza para utilizar como de transporte. Él dice que sí, ella lo ha utilizado mucho durante el último año, los últimos años. Hay otras compañías de autobuses que también que funcionan, como GMG, que actualmente no está operando, pero que supuestamente van a volver a operar después de este mes. Pero Red Coach sí, sí es seguro, sí es de confianza. Yo también utilicé Red Coach cuando fui un estudiante y no tenía un automóvil. Así que era uno de los modos de transporte más eficientes. Y también, entre muchos buses que hay unos que son más incómodos que otros. Ese es uno de los más cómodos, en mi opinión personal.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for that question. We have another question that I see that Bianca is currently typing out. So I will allow Bianca to finish typing out the response and maybe add some context later. But we do have a question about, do you recommend creating a Facebook account? I find that many organizations use it. And it's Vidia, it looks like you were going to answer that one.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend making a Facebook account. It is very true, like organizations do use that. But aside from Facebook, like again, GroupMe, they're gonna be using it a lot at UF. So Facebook and GroupMe and even Instagram, like there's a lot of posts and involvement opportunities on Instagram. So Facebook, Instagram, and GroupMe are gonna be your top 3 things to download and to have to get involved on campus or in any organization.
La pregunta es que si se recomienda crear una cuenta de Facebook, porque muchas organizaciones estudiantiles lo utilizan. Vidi dice que yes, muchas organizaciones la utilizan. Personalmente la pregunta a mí me sorprendió porque eso era lo único que utilizábamos nosotros cuando estuvimos ahí, y era donde informábamos acerca de nuestros eventos y todo. Pero además de Facebook, las otras dos aplicaciones que querrás tener si quieres mantenerte involucrado con diferentes organizaciones es GroupMe. GroupMe se utiliza mucho en varias organizaciones, y Instagram, donde para que así puedan aprender los eventos y las actividades que están ocurriendo.
Thank you all so much for that question. It is incredible that there is a question about creating a Facebook account. We are being aged just slightly because not statistically, numbers wise, Facebook has shrunk in size a little bit, especially with college age students. Yeah, lots of Instagram activity, lots of Twitter activity. All righty, folks. Any other questions that we have out in our digital world at the moment? Don't be shy, y'all. Y'all have had such good questions up to now. I wish there was a little background music just kind of like playing in the background.
If you want, there was a question about Hispanic heritage, and I think that Bianca answered it, but it may be worth saying out loud.
Yeah, I can give some more context for sure. So there are a lot of different resources. Yeah, Jose, this is going to be a long one. Do you want to go back and forth?
Can somebody just repeat the question for me so that we can present it for Spanish-speaking audience as well?
Yeah. The question is, are there any specific places or resources available to aid students in connecting with their Latinx Hispanic identities and learning more about Hispanic heritage in general?
Ok, hay recursos o lugares donde uno puede conectar a estudiantes para que puedan aprender y conectarse con con sus raíces hispanas en general.
Mhm. And yes, of course. So that's what La Casita and La Salita are for. A lot of times you may find yourself like in a class and you might not see anybody that looks like you. And it's a class of like 400 students, right? And so being able to come into Casita or Salita is like an actual physical space where you will see people who look like you, hear people who talk like you, hear music, eat food that you are familiar with.
Bueno, para empezar, si está la casita y la salita, ese es el punto principal. Para eso fueron diseñados estos espacios. Muchas veces cuando estén en clase, sea una clase pequeña o una clase de 400 estudiantes, puede que sean los únicos o los pocos que se identifiquen como latinos, como hispanos, pero la casita y la salita son espacios físicos donde puedes ir y vas a encontrar personas que hablan el mismo idioma que tú, que escuchan la misma música que tú, que comen la comida similar a tú, que tienen experiencias culturales similares, donde te puedes sentir más en casa.
Gracias, Jose. And then on the academic side, there is the Center for Latin American Studies, which is one of the first centers of its kind in the country. And they have all types of different classes focused on the Latinx experience. So if you wanted to get, as an undergraduate, if you wanted to get a minor in Latin American Studies and learn more about the community, this is an option.
Y en el lado académico está el Centro de Estudios Latinoamericanos. Este es uno de los centros, uno de los primeros centros que existe en el país y uno de los más reconocidos también, donde todo lo que es académico, el enfoque académico es en Latinoamérica. Es una manera de conectarse con tu raíz, con tus países. Ofrecen diferentes programas de toda la región, sea Brasil, sea Centroamérica, el Caribe, Sudamérica. Si te gustaría hacer una especialización en estudios latinoamericanos, esa es una opción. Puedo decirles personalmente que yo tengo un minor en Latin American Studies. Yo tomé muchísimas clases en el Centro de Estudios Latinoamericanos y no solo es el contenido y las clases, sino también los profesores, que en su mayoría van a ser personas que ustedes con las que se van a poder identificar.
Y finalmente, también HSA, Hispanic Student Association. Ellos son grupos de estudiantes que ellos ponen eventos, hacen eventos que hacen highlight a la comunidad latina. Entonces, muchas veces que ellos tengan eventos, los estudiantes pueden venir y ser parte de los eventos y siempre hablan de diferentes cosas que están pasando entre la comunidad, entre los diferentes países y ahí pueden ir estudiantes también. So there's also HSA, Hispanic Student Association, and they put on a lot of events that focus on the Hispanic-Latinx community. And they're always usually talking about current events and how our community is like going through those different events. And so connecting with them is always like super, super great because I think you'll have like a full calendar, right?
Yeah, so, oh, wait, do you need to translate first?
No, I translated it first.
Okay. Okay. So just to speak on HSA and our affiliate organizations, we are also, yes, we do talk a lot about real world things that are occurring throughout the globe. And we also talk about a lot of difficult conversations. We have events called solidarity sessions where we do have those difficult conversations about things that are issues that are affecting our community. But we are a safe space for those who are Latinx, and we would love anybody to join. We are the largest organization on campus, so definitely come join us and definitely join our familia.
Para añadir un poco más a lo que Bianca dijo y traducir lo que dijo él, sí, la Asociación Estudiantil Hispana y todas sus organizaciones afiliadas son un lugar donde pueden encontrar ese soporte. Tienen muchas discusiones acerca de lo que está pasando en la actualidad en todo el país. Tienen sesiones que se llaman sesiones en solidaridad y también tienen aspectos sociales, pero si quieren saber sobre HSA es la organización hispana más grande que está en la universidad, y bajo HSA trabajan con todas las otras organizaciones afiliadas para asegurarse que si quieres aprender de tu nacionalidad, perfecto, pero si quieres mostrar solidaridad con el resto de la comunidad, también puedes hacer eso y mantenerte informado de lo que está pasando en la comunidad local, en la comunidad nacional y en la comunidad global.
Yes, and I also want to talk about our affiliate organizations. So we have 20 plus affiliated organizations that range from more specific cultural organizations like the Peruvian, I know all the acronyms, which is PAS, but the Peruvian American student something. And then there's CASA. There's so many different organizations that are different cultures that are represented within our affiliate organizations. There's also pre-professional organizations like the Latino Medical Student Association, and we have one for journalism as well. So there's a lot of pre-professional organizations as well as cultural that you can join if you want to be more connected to things that are more related to your major or your specific culture.
Y para hablar un poco más acerca de las organizaciones afiliadas a HSA, hay más de 20 organizaciones que tienen enfoques diferentes. Algunos son más culturales y nacionales, por ejemplo, PAS, que es la Asociación Estudiantil de Peruanoamericanos, Peruvian American Student Society, o CASA, que es the Cuban American Student Association, la Asociación Estudiantil de Cubanoamericanos. Hay una organización centroamericana, hay prácticamente casi todas las nacionalidades a este punto. Y también hay organizaciones que tienen un enfoque más profesional, sean los estudiantes de medicina o estudiantes de negocios o diferentes profesiones.
Alrighty, folks. So we are almost at time. We're going to go ahead and answer one more question that we currently have in the queue. And actually, Jose, if you or Liana could specifically take this, because I do believe it is related specifically to AHA, but someone is hoping to expand a little bit on scholarships. So if you can give a quick little synopsis about the scholarships that the AHA offers, and then maybe follow up in the chat with an email, like info. I'm gonna let y'all take it away.
You want me to answer, Liana? Sure. Okay, so I'll answer in English and then I'll translate everything to Spanish. So the question is on giving more information regarding scholarships. As Liana mentioned, we have several scholarships that we award every year. We range from 2 to 4. This past year, we were able to award 10 scholarships. The timeline for the scholarships is we'll usually launch them early in the spring, usually January, February. And then you will be notified of the award sometime usually around May. that award is then paid out to you the following fall. So if you're a senior and you're graduating, I'm sorry, you probably shouldn't apply, but none of you are seniors because you're just starting off, which means starting next spring, there are a couple of eligibility requirements in terms of how much you have had to complete at UF, but you could potentially be eligible starting next spring. It goes through the process. There are a couple of different scholarships. One is a merit scholarship. One is a merit and need scholarship. We have a scholarship currently that is specifically for incoming first-year law students, and we have a new scholarship that we launched this year that is for students who are unable to access federal or state financial aid. There may be other scholarships coming up on the pipeline if we're able to raise the funds, but there's just an email was sent, was put in the chat, info@UAHA. If you have any questions, feel free to send emails there. Be on the lookout on our social media around January, February, which is when we'll announce the opening of our scholarship applications. Okay, now I have to translate all of that. La pregunta era que si teníamos más información acerca de las becas que nuestra asociación da a estudiantes. Como Liana mencionó durante la presentación, tenemos varias becas que damos cada año. Hay veces que hemos dado 2, hay veces que hemos dado 4. Este año pudimos dar 10 becas a 10 diferentes estudiantes. Tenemos diferentes tipos de becas. Hay unas que son basado en tu mérito, hay otras que son basadas en tu mérito y que puedes comprobar necesidad financiera. Tenemos una beca que es específicamente para estudiantes de leyes y este año también dimos una beca nueva que tenemos planeado dar el año que viene también para estudiantes que no tienen acceso a ayuda financiera federal o estatal. El ciclo de la aplicación de nuestras becas normalmente empieza en enero o en febrero y luego te notificamos probablemente en mayo si lo ganaste. Esa beca entonces se te va a entregar a través de la oficina de ayuda financiera de UF Financial Aid Office en la siguiente semestre que empieza en agosto. Así que por favor síganos en nuestras redes sociales, ahí es cuando lo vamos a anunciar, sea en Instagram o Facebook o Twitter. Anunciaremos cuando abramos nuestras aplicaciones para la beca. Hay ciertos puntos de elegibilidad para cada beca diferente. Algunos tienen que ver con haber completado cierta cantidad de clases o semestres, pero es posible que ya en el año que viene entrando, en enero, ustedes ya estén elegibles, así que por favor síganos y síganos y manténganse informados acerca de cuándo vamos a abrir estas aplicaciones. Y en el chat pusimos una dirección de correo electrónico info@ufah.org. Si tienen alguna pregunta o cualquier cosa, sea en inglés o en español, por favor mándenla ahí acerca de las becas y nosotros podemos proveerles respuestas.
Thank you so much for translating all of that, Jose, and for being our translator for our Q&A section. And y'all, thank you all so much for all of your thoughtful questions. We're just, once again, just so excited to have you all here tonight to engage with us and to learn. And we're just so happy that we were able to spend our evenings with you all at home. And of course, a special thanks to all of our panelists for sharing their thoughts and their efforts to prepare our incoming first-year students and their familias. I do have one more quick ask of all of our panelists before we do depart for the evening, because we have come to our end. And that is just to share, what is one piece of advice that you would like to share with our incoming first-year students here today? So Elle, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Alrighty, so I guess one piece of advice that I have is really to just try something new and try something different. You have all the opportunities right in front of you at this moment to join many organizations, whether that you always had an interest in learning chess or you always wanted to join an intramural team and learn how to play basketball. You have so many opportunities to do so many different things, and now is the time to do that. So go meet new people, make those connections, figure out what you want to do, because I'm sure a lot of you are in a place where you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your career. Try something different, try different classes, try out new organizations, and really try to create your own path.
Vidi, we'll turn it over to you. What is a piece of advice you have for our friends?
One big piece of advice, other than, getting involved, is to not start thinking about, growing professionally. It's never too early to start thinking about, what you want to do in the future, or even like getting involved in like your professional types of organizations, whether that's medical school, or even if you change your mind and it's not medical school, and maybe it's higher education like me, just, getting those different skill sets and really like striving to know where you want to be maybe in the next 5 years, and thinking about grad school, medical school, all of those great things, because it all starts here.
Thank you so much, Vidi. Bianca, what are your thoughts?
I would say get to know everyone. One, you never know who will become your best friend. And two, you never know who will become your boss. So there's definitely people who you might have like, oh, I never talked to them, but I know that they went to UF. And then later when you're looking for a job, they're the ones hiring. So just get to know as many people as possible, because those relationships are what are really going to make your experience worth it.
Or I'd like to add, who do you get married to? Because I'm getting married to he was my assistant director for the MLP program when I was the director. So we are now engaged. Anyways, that's not my advice though. My advice is first, be open. I think my freshman year, what I really appreciated was I tried to just attend like the first meeting for a lot of different student organizations. I was really eager to do everything. I saw so many, like a huge list of student organizations, and I wanted to join them all. But obviously we don't have time for all of that. So I think, first go on and attend the different meetings, see what speaks to you, and then try to focus in on that. I think that, at least for me, my junior and senior year of college, I would say I felt kind of spread thin because I had joined so many organizations. And I think that it's important to first leave UF knowing that you made an impact. And it's a lot easier to make an impact when you dedicate the time to the things that you actually love and care about, and not spread yourself thin. So if I would look back, I'd say make sure to do that. Also, I would say take time off in the sense of like, I took 2 semesters, I took time off from school to intern. And I interned in Tallahassee through the state government. And those opportunities, actually, I may have foregone certain opportunities on campus, but I was able to gain employment after I graduated because of the risks I took. I also took a semester to study abroad, and that is one of the experiences that I would take with me for the rest of my life. So don't be, I think sometimes students who are overly involved, like I was myself, are scared to take certain risks because, oh, I may not be president next year because I took a semester off and took this other opportunity. So don't get caught up in, wanting to climb the ladder at UF. Just do what you want to do, because these are your 4 or 5 years that you can make any decisions you want and do what you truly love. If I could do something different, I wouldn't change much of my experience, but if I would do something different, I would actually study abroad longer. I only did 1 semester. And that's because for me, when I graduated UF, I started work about a week afterwards, and I haven't stopped working since then. And if I could go back, I would take more time off and enjoy my life because we're young. So I know you guys are, full steam ahead, wanting to jump into your careers, and that's important too. But take the time you can, because these are some fun years you'll never get back. All right, and well, that concludes this program. I just want to thank you guys for joining us this evening. I really hope that you were able to take some insight that we all had to offer about different programs that are available to you students or to your children on campus. Just know that they will be safe. There is a safe space for them on campus, and we're here to support them along the way. If you have any questions after this program, feel free to reach out to us. We're truly here to support you. Please remember that, you know, students can find community in any corners of the University of Florida, and we're just one small corner there for you. Be proud. You are a Gator now, and we're so excited for you. And the possibilities are endless. Like we mentioned, there's so many different paths you can take, and each one of them is unique and beautiful, and your path. We hope that you'll consider joining the Hispanic Student Association, joining all the different programs that are available to you through the Hispanic-Latinx Affairs. Participate in our programs and apply for our scholarships, because the money is there. We raise it for you. And bienvenidos Caimanes to our familia. Thank you again for joining us tonight.